let nobody sell you crack. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me. That's right. And it's worth something.
This is Black Watch with Commanding General Yahanna, the only man to lead blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans.
God made man on this earth. The white man he make man. God made man. God wants man to obey him.
Bringing you real news.
You don't need a black man in the White House. You need a black man in every black house.
For many years, there's a lot of black people who didn't realize how deep the racism of white America was.
You ain't gonna do nothing unless you decide where you gonna stand at with the Most High.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Righteous solutions to issues plaguing our nation.
Boy, you better wake up and see the power that is within blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians.
Join us every Monday from 9 to 11 p.m. Black Watch. Let the show begin.
Yeah. What's going on? Israel, ISUPK.com is the website. I'm Commanding General Yahanna. I got the helm tonight, and we getting it in like we do every Monday night at 9 p.m. In the building with me, the heavy hitter himself, General Nehemiah, holding it down, doing it, grooving it. General Muhammad will be back, Lord allow, next week. General Haas also back, Lord allow, next week. Also, Marah will be back, Lord allow, next week. Hebrew's getting busy all over the place, man. I'm glad you were able to join us tonight. We're going to get it in. We got a lot to talk about tonight. There's a lot going on in Black America that is, starting to flow in the right direction and starting to reveal a lot of the hidden things that they're caught up into. Like you getting caught up into not taking the vaccine or taking the vaccine is a distraction from what's really going on in this earth. That's a distraction, man. Okay? You got a lot of people out here that's just trying to pimp you with your fears, man. You know what I mean? You've been going to the doctor getting vaccines since you was a baby. Okay? You've been doing that since, you were a toddler. The Most High is going to watch over this nation like he's always done. And so many people lost their lives needlessly, because they didn't adhere to the words of the Most High and instead allowed, poverty pimps to terrorize them and make them afraid of Esau and Esau's medicine and all of Esau's nonsense. And we as a people, let me tell you something. We as a people have been trained to be very, very afraid of everything with the white man. We're afraid of everything when it comes to him. Like he holds a power over us that should not be over us. And the Most High is going to stomp that daggone power out. Where are we going first, General?
Fire, New York.
New York City, yeah.
Khan. 19 dead, including 9 children, in New York City apartment fire. A faulty space heater on a chilly Sunday morning sparked a fire that filled a high-rise Bronx apartment building with thick smoke.
Like, this is ridiculous. We in 2022, and black people in New York City and Latinos in New York City still have to have a space heater in apartments that they're paying ridiculous money for, man. How you gonna burn up and kill 19 people in an apartment because they need a space heater when the rents in New York City are insane? Okay. I remember watching old tapes of groups like the Black Panthers and other groups who would talk about, they would go talk about, how the slum lords were keeping the apartments cold. Okay. I experienced it firsthand myself. But this was something that they were talking about 20 years before me. They was talking about this back in the 60s, man, back in the 70s, back during the times when they was burning down the Bronx. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay. like wintertime, you in there freezing half to death. Meanwhile, now, I mean, they rose the rents up so high, you know, that it's ridiculous how much money they asking for the rents. And then still, the Lord's people, man, are in hell. 19 people died needlessly because they didn't have enough heat in their apartment, which is ridiculous, man, and shameful. One of the richest cities in the world, and the rent. I heard the rent, man. I heard a one bedroom's like $1,500.
Good Lord, good.
One bedroom like $1,500. It's ridiculous, man. And then you ain't got no heat in your apartment, man. You got more of it?
It was New York City's deadliest fire in decades. Trapped residents broke windows for air and stuffed wet towels under doors as smoke rose from a lower floor apartment where the fire started.
So the fire started below them, and the smoke rose up to the next floor. Insanity, man.
So they trapped, you know.
You know what I mean? Trapped. Hey, Shalom word.
Multiple limp children were seen being given oxygen after they were carried out.
Babies. And you telling me things have changed, man? And this is probably, let me tell you, this is probably thousands upon thousands of people in New York City, man. And I think I was watching one of the tapes of Muhammad. I could have swore Muhammad was talking about how much money that they had made down there in Wall Street. How they made billions down there in Wall Street before 9/11. The tons of them billion-dollar companies got destroyed during 9/11. Meanwhile, New York City's still struggling with this. Give me a little bit more if you don't mind, you know.
Coming to one cut. Firefighters found victims on every floor.
On every floor. On every floor, these people died simply because this landlord would not give them any heat, which is why the Lord's chosen people can't be under nobody else.
Sure.
Like Donald Trump was doing that too. Remember, not Donald Trump too. But the one I'm trying to get to is that the one that owned the basketball team, Sterling or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? He was also doing that. To where he got fined. It's so evil. They fined him for slumlording poor black people and Latino people. And this bastard went out and paid, which group was it? It wasn't the NAACP, but it was one like the NAACP. Oh, man, I wish I could remember. Paid them money, and they gave him a reward. They gave him like a plaque or something. Y'all remember that?
I remember this.
Now, this cat was a slumlord, you know, giving blacks and Latinos no service. No service. And then got caught for it. Went to court, lost in the case, and of course was he had mud slung on him. And because he had the mud slung on him, he had to do something. He had to get his rep back. So he went and paid. Which group? You died. I knew you was gonna find it.
It was the NAACP Lifetime Award.
He got the NAA, a slumlord. Got the NAACP Lifetime Award. Once again, that's why the Lord had to raise up them cats like Nehemiah. Find me, if you could, that scripture where Nehemiah came at the landlords, at the leaders who was making money off of the people. Like, that's why God raises up prophets, man. That's why the Lord does that. That's why he raises up prophets. That's why he's going to raise up the prophets of the Lord to lead the children of Israel, man. Because this has been going on. I mean, we talking decades, decades. And ain't nothing worse than you having babies in a house, in an apartment, and they are cold at night. There's nothing worse. And meanwhile, these landlords they traveling around the world. They living in Monaco. They living in Florida. You know what I'm saying? These so-called Jews, they living in Florida, enjoying the warm weather, while you up in the north are paying them $1,500 for a one-bedroom apartment, and these bastards won't even give you a little heat, knowing you have children. knowing you have children, they won't even give you no proper heat. This is the real state of life for blacks and Latinos, man. Go ahead, Doc. You got more in it, General?
That's about
That was it?
Good.
That Sterling did them dirty like that. Donald Trump did that. He got cited as well. And you know what it must take to get cited? They paying off so many building inspectors and so many different people. Do you know what it takes for them to get cited? 19 people out. They said pulling out babies from every floor, which means this, which means the smoke inhalation. Watch the baby. Watch her on that chair. She all right on that chair? Okay, you might want to bring that chair a little closer to you. Just bring, huh? You sure? I mean, you know, just so she don't slide off that joint. Okay. You know, it's insane, huh? All these years, and still the same. And meanwhile, here's the thing. They selling you the melting pot story, and you buying into it, and then they become your landlord, and they become like your ruler over you, man. Like, I can't wait till the day come like it used to be in the 60s. In the 60s, white people didn't want to rent to you anyway in the 60s. They wouldn't rent to you no how. Okay? So some of them, you seen the old signs of the restaurants. No blacks allowed. No blacks, no Mexicans, and no dogs they used to put. So they didn't rent to you anyway. And the beauty of that was that black people had to rent to you. And black people was working off of a different system. We wasn't working off of a system where you fill out an application and we check your credit to see if you got enough credit and how much you pay. We were working off the reputation of who said you was all right for us to rent.
Good.
You know what I mean? You could go to a landlord back then and say, you could check with Charlie and them down there at the pharmacy. I come in there and work every Saturday with them. I do so-and-so and I do such and such. And they would hire you. I mean, they would give you an apartment based on that. And if you dealt with them right, they dealt with you right. And that was how life was supposed to be, man. But these heathens have sought you out, like the scripture said, to eat you alive. You holding one for me, General?
I'm still looking for it.
Okay, that's right.
Remember the word.
Grab it as soon as you can.
Good.
I think he got it for you. Like, that's insane. And this is going on all over. Let me tell you something. Blacks and Latinos in New York City out right now are in hell trying to pay them bills. They in hell trying to pay them rents. You know what they going through up there, man, trying to pay off them rents? Pay the $1,800, $2,000 a month rent. Meanwhile, the average job up there is paying you, what, $17, $18 an hour. You barely clearing $600 off the top. After they get through with the taxes, you lucky if you get out the door with $450. Now, how you gonna $450 a week? That's twice a month. That's $1,800. How you gonna pay $1,850 rent? Plus utilities, plus feed yourself and your kids, plus pay the transportation, which is exuberant up there in New York. Like like once again, they built these cities just like it said in ancient Egypt. They built these treasure cities, and they starve and rob us. And here's the thing, man. When you start to get a little success in life, those of you that have, you forget how these people are suffering, man. But the Most High doesn't forget. And that's why judgment. Some of you done live deliciously in this empire, and you don't want the Lord to punish this place because you've been living good here. But I got bad news for you. The Most High sees the suffering of his people. And brother, he's going to come down on this place. And he should. He should. Like, no people should suffer forever.
Okay.
Like what people should suffer forever, except maybe Esau. He says he's willing to, he's willing to let you suffer forever. Maybe he should suffer forever. You know what I mean? I want to see what he's going to look like after 800 years of slavery. Because I see what you look like after 400, and it ain't good. You ain't looking too good after 400 years under the whip. You understand? I saw a brother on the corner today. I mean, He said, we pulled over the car, brother. He's standing looking like he's in outer space, not even high. He in outer space from just suffering. He looked like he barely had a jacket on, warm enough to keep him warm. Looked like they just put him out of the shelter for the day and told him come back that evening. He was standing there freezing with a thin-ass jacket on. You know I had to try to help. Do my little part, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where our head got to go. And then guess what? We'll start to come up. Now, you better start focusing on your nation while this pandemic is going on. This is the perfect time. Right. This is the perfect time to be focused on you and these 12 tribes and getting away from what is going on out here. A lot of people, they said people walking off these jobs out like crazy. Like the vibe, you wonder what this vibe is. Let me tell you what this vibe is. The vibe is exhaustion. People are spiritually exhausted. They're exhausted from being slaves. Like they've got like everything they learned in church. Now it's like, do what? The pandemic came, the church is closed, and now it's like they don't want to do nothing. Don't nobody want to focus on, you know, how many Tostitos you got this week, or what your grocery coupon. Don't nobody want to focus on that no more. Come on, you die.
If I may, sir, what you bringing out is so heavy. You know, Officer Bahaya, myself, slave at the same, supermarket franchise. And let me tell you something, sir. We talk all the time, and brothers is walking off the slavery. You know, I manage the back room. Them brothers, the truck drivers tell me they don't have enough people. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. They got to pick, their own orders because it ain't nobody in the warehouse. Brothers is getting fed up, sir. They just walking off the slavery, and they not even calling and saying they quitting. They just staying home. I saw, if I may, sir, I was getting my hair braided by my sister, and Dr. Phil came on and was like, he said, if you have a relative or a loved one that is refusing to go back to work due to COVID, call it to me.
I got bad news for Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil ain't helping nobody. Ain't nobody calling you like if you calling you to go back to the slavery when they have spent a year trying to figure out how they're going to feed themselves off the damn slavery. You think they're going back? Come on, man. They trying every way they can not to go back. And something else that's happening to a lot of blacks and Latinos too. And I ain't saying don't go to work. You need the cash and, go to work. I get up and go to work too, just like everybody else. Work too many hours some days, I think to myself. But I'm working, and I'm glad to be working because this work, I love this work. So, but everybody don't have a slavery that they love to do. And so I'm not telling you to go or not to go, but I do know the vibe out here is like, damn this cat, like damn, and you better be nice to your workers because now bets are off. You know what I mean? People are sick and tired of Esau, sick and tired of the lies. The spell is coming off of them, and another thing, people are just gaining spirituality, man. Meaning they starting to look at things on another level. They starting to look past just, get this paycheck, pay these bills, get high on the weekend, and back to work Monday morning. They looking at things in a different way. Okay, a lot of people. Ain't everybody, a lot of people. And Esau is running into a problem because he can't get everybody back up in there to make all the treasure trove of money that he used to make. You understand? And sharing none of it with anybody. Multi-million-dollar companies, and a minute ago, think about this. A minute ago, you was getting $7 an hour working for a fast food restaurant. $7.35 working in a fast food restaurant. You might get shot if you tell a nigga, gee, I'm gonna pay you $7.35. You might, how they had an interview down there in the restaurant. You might be at the restaurant interview and say, well, thank you, Mr. Johnson, for filling out the application. We're glad to hire you and bring you on board, and welcome to, ABC franchise. And we'll be paying you $8.10 an hour. Bop, bop, bop. Manager on the floor dead. I'm not telling nobody to do that, okay? Yeah, I got to say these disclaimers because Esau always call it. What did you mean? So, but my point is being this, that they had to go up to $14 and $15 an hour because people were sick of it. But the spell was on people so strong. The spell was on them so strong. And your religious leaders don't care about you because they're not even putting it back on up. So anyway, I don't want to run. But the point is, people are sick of this, man. And it's changing the tide.
Okay.
Go ahead. Where we going?
Okay.
Where he went, where the one where he was, he went to them and told them to stop charging the people so much. They were the landlords. Like, it's a tricky one. I haven't read it in a while. Okay. Anybody out there know that one I'm talking about? Pull it and give it to me, y'all. Q, anybody, huh? Please.
Come. A 5-year-old told Fairmount Fire investigators a Christmas tree ignited as he played with a lighter.
See that? Now you put a space. That's almost as bad. That one is bad. This one is as bad because this one is their own fault for worshiping these demonic holidays. You understand? And brainwashing babies with Christmas trees. Such a dangerous thing. Like every year people burn up from them cheap lights. You buying them lights in the dollar store, it's 1,000 light bulbs on that damn string of lights. And all it takes is one of them old dirty light bulbs to totally mess you up. That's all it takes. One of them light bulbs to crack or get stepped on or the wire fray, and they making them up. We just read about the factory that burnt down. What city was that factory in when the tornado came and it collapsed and killed all the brothers and sisters from Puerto Rico? Mayville, Kentucky. We just read how they were pressing upon them so hard to make them candles for the holiday. Well, they pressing on the factories as well in China and Korea to make them Christmas lights. Imagine that. You go celebrating an ancient Babylonian holiday and end up burning up your whole family. Go ahead, you die.
A 5-year-old boy who escaped the fire that killed 12 people in a Fairmount apartment Wednesday.
12 people. Go ahead.
Told investigators the blaze started after he accidentally lit a Christmas tree on fire while playing with a lighter.
Damn.
According to police records obtained by the Inquirer.
Like, that's the Most High against that. The Most High is against that. And think of the horror stories. And I don't know how anybody could celebrate Christmas with 2 million black men and women in prison. How do you do that? How do you have Christmas with your relatives in cages in the millions? We ain't just talking a few. We talking in the millions in cages. God. I tell you how you do it. This is how you do it. You become a selfish, greedy, I want piece of garbage. That's how you do it. You don't care about the people suffering around you. You don't care about the ones incarcerated in prison. Instead, you take on the spirit of selfishness, which is what Christmas is about anyway. Right. About being selfish to you. And because of it, now you don't have to think about nobody. You got to think about nobody. You ain't got to think about none of those things. When you read about these brothers, every single brother that ever fought for the nation of Israel, when they had to fight to stand up for the nation of Israel, that's all they thought about, right or wrong, General. That's all that was their priority. They was thinking about, what does this nation need? What do these people need? What are they suffering from? Who is harming them? That was their waking, eating, sleeping day. But you celebrate Christmas. Think about, all you can think about is what you can get and what you ain't got. And some of you turn on family members over that Christmas, especially some of you black and Latino women. Oh my God. You don't get that right gift you expected. The marriage be over. Marriage be shut down. because you didn't get the gift you was looking for. Did you have your hand up? Oh, okay. Like you don't get the gift you was looking for. So you ready to throw a brother in the street a lot of times. And brothers too. That and the demonic birthday. That birthday, like when you read in the scriptures where the Lord said, thou shalt not have heated observance times. That's talking about your birthdays, your Christmas. Those are observations of time, man. The Lord called those an abomination. And here's the thing. This, I don't understand this. When I was coming up in the truth and learning, trying to learn about becoming conscious when I was really, really young, I didn't presume that I knew what the hell I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like today, we just presume what we doing is right. You tell black people we shouldn't be celebrating birthdays. You would think after 400 years of slavery that they would at least say, well, why do you say that, brother? You would think that our Latino brothers would be like, well, why do you say that? No, brother, no. Before they even know or understand a single scripture, you already rejecting it because this is all you know. And you committed to the lie. You damn near have to be beat over the head with the truth before you recognize that maybe I'm wrong on this here. You understand? And to celebrate a holiday, man, where the Lord's people died for a tree to be in your house. God. And for you to die because somebody didn't put a space heat on. I'm running on. Go ahead, Jim.
And listen, you're right. In this season, again, all the ornaments and the trees, all that is fuel for a fire. You know what I'm saying? I'll be wondering, damn, how did so many people die? Because that fire must have spread so damn fast with all the paper and the lights and the fake snow and all the stuff that feed the fire, even with the space heater. I'm sure they was decorated up. You know what I'm saying? And so now a little fire start. It spread quick, man. Quick. And black people, we don't change them batteries and the fire alarms and all, and halfway ain't got no fire alarms, from these slum landlords. You understand? It just spreads so damn fast, man. It's ridiculous. This holiday season, there's always stories like this every season with these holidays, but we continue to keep, filling our house with trees and electric right over the water. Some people still putting water under the damn tree. I don't know what that was ever about, but you know what I'm saying? It's like a fuel, like a mixture. It's a perfect storm for the fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially that live tree. It's a tree. Like, what do you put in the fireplace? Wood. So you got a tree sitting in your house. It's been sitting in there a week with no water or water in the bottom of the pan, which is not enough water for it. It ain't being rained on. It's getting dry and brittle. And then one of the kids go and want to light something up. Click the lighter, brother. And that tree, like you said, probably go up. Poof. Like the whole house up, burn up the curtains, the rug, the couch. Before you know it, burning everybody out the damn building. And this is supposed to be signs and lessons for us, man. Let's keep going. That it on that story? Let's keep going.
Come on. When first responders arrived at the 3-story row house before sunrise, the boy had made it out of the building. He then told a neighbor and later a paramedic, a firefighter, and hospital staff how the fire had started and that his mother had died.
Damn. That kid is destroyed, Doc. Like, that kid is destroyed. Burnt down the house and killed his own mother in the house, worshiping this holiday. Crazy, Doc. Crazy. We need a new world. This world we in is about ready to wrap up. We need a new world now. Right or wrong, we need a new world, man. And that new world is being built by Christ. He's building that new world for us right now by raising up these brothers and sisters, man, bringing them into the truth, giving them their identity back. Like, black men have never been as awoken and as, revived as they are right now. They revived and awakened and open now that they got the truth. Whereas brothers who don't, you look at them, their spirit done went all the way down to the grave. Like the hell of this place will either wipe you out or show you the truth so you can come into the truth so you can become who you really are, prophets of the Most High in Christ. You know what I mean? So you can become who you're supposed to be in this earth and not broken up under there. I was just talking with one of the captains today, and both of us was rejoicing at the fact that we got the truth, because we were looking around us and seeing how broken brothers are and seeing the life that we lived before this and seeing the hell we was in and saying, you know, one brother was like, he don't even understand how brothers in the world are even functional in this place. He don't even understand how you even function without knowing the knowledge of the truth. And you trying desperately to go into it. You shooting up every corner. You desperately trying to, you know, make the gangster move alive. You desperately trying to, you know, become the man and come through the fire. But meanwhile, you just shooting up and killing everybody and killing yourself and killing your homies and just making a bloody mess of the whole damn place because it's not working. It's not working because the Lord is not with it. Not working because the Lord is pushing back up against you, man. He wants you to start looking at real spiritual things, man. Let's keep going. I don't want to keep on this story too long. Let's keep going, y'all.
Khan. Number 1 slot receiver Kevin Coleman Jr. commits to Deion Sanders, Jackson State.
Now, is this the first brother or this is the second brother?
If I may, sir, this is the another brother that committed to Jackson State to play with Deion Sanders. And he was the number 1 slot receiver. So they had the number 1 running back, and now they have the number 1 slot receiver, sir.
The plot is in.
Come on.
Deion better have security. Because these Edomites are going to be livid. They're going to be livid over the fact that he gets free from this beast, man. So now they got 2 number 1 players for 2 positions, correct? Yeah, that's
Con, sir.
Brother, that's a new day. Right or wrong?
Con one con.
That's a new day. And Esau's put in a bit of a bag with it because a lot of people are criticizing it, but a lot of people are saying, how dare they criticize? A lot of people are looking at them like, how dare you criticize this? You telling me it's not a good thing that these top black students go to a HBCU?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a top thing. They know it's a top thing, but they still don't want it. Like we brought out last time. Please, jump in on it.
And it showed more of their racism. Like black people, again, COVID, Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying? All these January 6th, all these police murders, black people is being woken up out of a spell that they've been in for a long, long time. You know what I'm saying? That cycle's been broken because of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And so now they waking up and they seeing this man for who he is. And a lot of them trying to do with the best of their ability of coming back home, what feels like coming back to their roots, to their people. So they going to these HBCUs trying to make them strong. And then and black people see it and they like, yeah, well, that's a good move, man. We need to come back together. It's about time. You know what I'm saying? And then the white people mad at it and complaining. You understand? And that just make black people say, oh, well, they don't like that. See how racist they are? It just makes them separate more. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Lord then started a separation of sorts. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to get deeper because white people going to show their anger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, I was trying to find this video, man. They with his college. I didn't get to it. I was going to do it on the I.S.U.P.K the Prophet show, but we didn't get to it. Some college, and they showed a video. I forget what college it was, but the frat fraternity was so-called getting in trouble. The college was trying to defend themselves against them because they had on a video singing an old slave song, one of them slave songs to talk, to nigga this, nigga that, and the South coming back. I know one of the lines was, the South shall rise again. That was one of the lines in the Dixie, one of them old songs, something Dixie.
One of them old racist songs.
And so they singing that, and they show you, we've been saying for weeks and weeks that all this old things that's going on with these white nationalists is because the South ain't never died. You know what I'm saying? They like to say, well, the South lost, and you sporting that Confederate flag. Don't you know that's a flag, the flag of losers? But they ain't never really lose. You know what I'm saying? Because the North really, that whole Civil War thing wasn't about a love for black people and freeing black people. It was political and financial. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so now the South, they ain't never died. The South, they got their houses back after the Civil War. They was giving their land back and all that, and made peace. But that sentiment never died. You know what I'm saying? That sentiment of, these black and brown people are beneath us. You know what I'm saying? And we should be strong, and we should be able to be free with our speech and say what we want and call a nigga, and they shouldn't be on our level. We the supreme race. That sentiment never died, and it's getting stronger. You understand? In these last days.
That was heavy, you know what I mean?
So, and the good thing is black people are seeing it. It's just a question of, are they going to listen to what the prophets say in the school, on how to deal with it? That's the key.
God. If I could, get me Nehemiah 13 and 19, if I could, just to bring out right on the same point that General Mayak is saying. This brother right here, Nehemiah, was a bad cat. He was super bad. This brother right here, come out of captivity. And let me tell you something. If you can put this inside you, you'll change the world. Right. This brother right here, come out of captivity, and he was powerful in under Darius's kingdom. This brother right here spoke to the king directly. I think he was his cupbearer, but I'm not certain. He was. So he was right up there with Nehemiah, because the cupbearer had to make sure the king didn't get poisoned. That's why he had a cupbearer, a cat that pour that wine. Let me check. You know what I mean? He had to make sure the king didn't drink that wine and get poisoned. That was part of his job, and to make sure he had the right drink and all of that. So this cat was powerful, and then went to Darius and got permission to go back and build Jerusalem up and to set it all up. Once again, he's in another captivity. Once again, man, so much to learn from this, man. So much to learn from these scriptures. You in captivity, you supposed to be thinking about your nation. Like he in captivity, living wealthy. You know what I mean? That's like being that's like damn near being up there with what's her name? The little East Indian that's up there, the little Edomite, Kamala Harris. Like that's like being up there near her position. Not quite in her position, but up there near her position. You know what I mean? That's like being part of the Secret Service or something. You making good money. You got good prestige. You got good position. You up in power. So now while you up in this power, what are you thinking about, man? You supposed to be thinking about your people. Right. Your people. And the sad part is we in America, we don't even know who our people are. Right. Until you open up the Bible and find out, damn, that's you. Right. So you open up them scriptures and be like, shoot, there I am. But what kind of mind this brother had? He in there making the money. Y'all go in to get a big job in America and you lose your blackness. You lose your Latino-ness. You lose all of that, man. You what's the name of the ball player turning skin white? Dominican brother, Simeonite. Oh, God. Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa. Like you get up there and instead of you thinking about your people, you turn around and bleach your skin like Sammy Sosa and try to become an Edomite. When these brothers going down there with Deion Sanders, they up in the high ranks now, or about to get up in there and thinking about their own. That's what this cat Nehemiah was into, man. In all his power, he thinking about this. Read some more for me. I'm coming right back to you, Dad. Yeah, that same scripture. Go ahead, real quick. General, jump in whenever you're ready. Go ahead.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, verse 14. Remember.
No. 19th verse.
19th verse.
19th.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, and verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut.
Let me give you a little background. The reason Nehemiah commanded these gates to be shut, because the heathens who knew the children of Israel were supposed to be keeping the Sabbath, they would come into the gate of the city and bring all their merchandise to sell. They ain't selling it during the week. They coming in the Sabbath and selling it. So, of course, all of our people who's supposed to be trying to keep the Sabbath and get their laws and statutes back, instead, we down there shopping from the heathen. They getting rich while turning our high holy day, turning our days down. Like disrespecting our days, but selling us everything we need. Now tell me that ain't us in America right now. You want toilet paper? Who you going to? You want socks on your feet, drawers on you? Who you going to? Hell, you want a glass of water? Who you going to? They was doing the same thing. Only difference was they was doing it desecrating our high holy day, just like they do today with them churches. Mm-hmm. Try to change the day, the Sabbath day, from Saturday to Sunday. Right. Because they sun worshipers. Right. When meanwhile, Nehemiah, he's struggling trying to put the brothers and sisters back together, and he can't get it done because these heathens is in there on the Sabbath enticing the people to go shop from them. So he said, man, when the sun go down Friday, lock the damn gate, man. So he locked the gate. Bob, read a little more, please. Nice and loud.
And charged that they should not be open till after the Sabbath.
He said, lock that gate. Don't open it till after the Sabbath. Go ahead.
And some of my servants set I at the gate.
Meaning he got his soldiers, his brothers. He said, man, y'all go get up on that gate, man. And don't let nobody open that gate on the Sabbath so they can come in here and desecrate our holiday. Meanwhile, they getting rich off of us. Nehemiah didn't like that, man. That's the way prophets operate. Huh? Prophets are constantly watching, like the scripture said, we're watching the people. We're watching over them. Telling them the things that the Lord wants said to them so they can get right. Watching who's praying on them. Who's praying on them? Who's plotting on them? That's why here in the Israelite school UPK, like we hold the crown trophy of exposing evil things against black people. Because, brother, we came up. Let me tell you something. The ISUPK is off the chain. Because we're the only ones that came up against the one institution nobody dared come up against. And that was not the white man. Everybody speaks, oh, the white man, the white man. We checked on the white man's nonsense too. But you know what institution nobody wanted to come up against was that damn church. Right. And when we used to come out with it, it was like, what? How dare you talk about the church? How dare you talk about my preacher? Over time, everybody starts seeing, wait a minute. Then the Lord was giving you signs because you going in there on Sunday and the man, supposed to be a man, up there leading the choir ain't really being a man. Good. Flag. Good. You start getting flags. Good. You know what I mean? You seeing the people struggle, you know they need help. And meanwhile, there's a Rolls Royce parked outside. Flag. You start seeing the flags. But before that, the witchcraft had you. Nehemiah, a prophet, was seeing these flags, man. And he said, man, shut the gate, man. Don't even open that gate. He put his soldiers, he said he put his servants, meaning them brothers at work was under him. Said, no. Lock that gate. Don't let them get in. Give me a little bit more. I'm going to run it a little bit. Just a little bit.
That there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day.
No burden be brought in on the Sabbath. 20th verse. Keep going.
Verse 20. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice.
They stayed outside once or twice, thinking they're going to open the gate. The people going to make them open the gate. They're going to want to come open the gate. Go ahead, 21st verse.
Verse 21. Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you.
That's a prophet of God. Boy, I can't wait till we get that pop. That's the level we need to be able to go to. He said, look, man, why you out here trying to wait for us to get the gate open so y'all can sell on the Sabbath? We done told you. We going back to the Most High. We following his law and statutes. What are you doing here? If you come out here again, I'm going to fall on y'all. I'm going to lay hands on y'all. Don't come out here trying to sell on the Sabbath day. That's what like you think a prophet is an old sweet boy like you got in church? He said, look, man, don't come out here doing this no more, man. You do it again, man, I'm going to fall on you, man. You disrespecting our God. You disrespecting our holiday. And that's why black people got to have their own.
Right.
Latino people got to have their own. I don't want no God from no other nation. I want the nigga God. And that's why I say it like I say it. People get offended when I say it. I say it like I say it because I want to be clear. I want to be clear that I want the God of niggas, not the God of everybody. Right. Not all these other gods y'all got that come from every other nation. I want the one guy that represents niggas. You understand? That's the God I want to talk to.
That's right.
And I found him in these scriptures. I found him, man. And he's the baddest of the baddest of the baddest, man. And he represents blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, man. And that's what Nehemiah was fighting for. And got them heathens out of there, Maya. Right or wrong?
Got it one gun.
Give me a little bit more, you die, please.
I mean, it had to seem like the perfect situation, but it's just that we wasn't seeing that they doing this on the Sabbath on purpose.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Even though when getting this good stuff, we need it. Why they got to do it on the Sabbath? Much like today, to get you in the holiday spirit, that's when all the sales are.
And when go ahead.
That's when you got your time off work. That's where you can go bust them grills out. And you get into the whole spirit of the holiday.
Listen, you so right, brother. You understand? 4th of July come around, Kingsford charcoal, half price at Acme. You know what I'm saying? Right or wrong? You know what I'm saying? Every supermarket.
Fireworks.
Every supermarket got chopped meat on sale. The jumbo pack. You can't get halfway get chopped meat no other time of year. Come that part, every Frank hot dog company, you know what I'm saying? Kosher, ballpark Franks, you know, every Frankfurter, you know, you know, what they call them, Frank Munger is out selling damn hot dogs. Because like you said, they're going to bring you in on their holiday. The hell with that Saturday. That Saturday, they don't want, a lot of jobs, you got to go to work on Saturday. You don't want you in there on that. They want you taking the sun god's day off. That's the day they want you to take off, not your days. You understand? Forget about the other high holy days. The so-called Jew do it, and he don't invite nobody to come do it with him. He could give a damn. In most cases, he ain't even bringing you in the temple with him. Not that nobody want to go in there with him, but he ain't even trying to have you go in there. That's for him. You understand? In his mind. Of course, following. Sorry, we got it. Of course, in his mind, following. You got it? I'm bringing it up. There you go. Yeah, you just got to bring it up. Then when you sit in this shit, yeah, there you go. You understand? In his mind, that's for him and not for you. And so that's why he's pushing it for him. And why as a black man, Latino man, Native Indian man, you spent 400 years here. You got to find who you are. And you ain't going to find who you are worshiping some other nation's God. You will never, ever, ever, ever find the truth out worshiping another nation's God. And you will never be fulfilled because your God made a covenant with your fathers to make you whole, man, to make you where you didn't have to be subservient to another nation. You go worship another nation's God, you subservient to the people who created that God. No matter how much they tell you, oh, our God believe in everybody. White men tell you that all the time. Jesus died for everybody. But I don't see too many integrated churches, do you? No. You got black churches and you got white churches. And big shout out to Captain Kahuntham Yard. He came out and exposed how he went down there and blazed on them at what is it called? The Southern National Southern Christian Conference or something like that. I forget the exact name. Y'all know what it is out there. Say again? No, it's a convention of all the church leaders. And he went down there, man, to check them church leaders because here's what the white church leaders said. They told the black church leaders, the white church leaders told the black church leaders that you are not to do any teaching on a black Jesus. They told them that. And here's what else got revealed. It come to find out tons of these black churches were financed by big white churches. So you think this is a black church, Meanwhile, this black church is paying interest on a loan from a rich white church that got the money to finance that black church. And in doing it, they dictating what that black church can preach. And they knew that it was becoming spiritual for people to teach about Christ being black. It's such a spiritual thing. They knew that it was getting too much into the ether, so to speak, of black people. And they quickly said, "Nah, we killing that." After this story, I want you to do that story where they ban all of that critical race theory. Let's do that one after this. But I want to finish on this, and don't leave yet, because I want you to read Nehemiah for me. All right, like that's what was going on. You know what I'm saying, General? Like they were making these black churches shut their mouths about Christ being black, the people in the Bible being black, and they quieted their mouths until the pandemic came. Pandemic came and put them black churches out of business. Put them out of business. Now they got to rethink their strategy. And we got the lane. Pass us the ball. We taking it right through the goalposts. We ain't kicking. we going on 4th down. Yeah, we going in the end zone. Go ahead.
It was the Southern Christian Leadership
Conference? I think that's it. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Captain Kahuntham Yard and them brothers, man, they went down there, man. And the brothers came out and said, the brothers that was in them churches came out and said, yes, we was told that we could not teach anything on Jesus being black. They said they were told that. So once again, everybody wants you to worship their gods, because that's how they enslave you, man. Right. You got to find the God of niggas, man. That's right, sir. You know what I mean? And I know that, sound derogatory to you on the surface, but if you understood what I understood, you don't know how much a compliment to God that is.
Got it one, God.
Right or wrong, Got
it one, God.
They don't understand it yet. It's early in your awakening, so you don't really understand that yet. But over time, you're going to realize exactly what I'm saying, and you're going to say, damn, that was deep. Because you're going to realize that who is the God of black people and Latino people? We got to get it from them? Nah, brother, wake up. Wake up. If you could give me a little bit more, General, on this. I don't want to run too much. We over 10. Give me a little bit more on this Nehemiah. I just want to get a little more of what Nehemiah said after he threatened them, all right?
From that time forth
came where you at.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13 and verse 21 at the end.
Go ahead.
From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath.
Go ahead.
Verse 22.
Jump over 22, go to 23. Y'all can read 22 if you want to at home, but I want to get to the point so we can go to the next story. Go ahead.
Verse 23. In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab.
Okay, these are all heathens. Moab is the Chinese, Ammon is the Japanese, and Ashdod are Edomites. This is who was sitting over there right on the borders of our land. The Orientals at one time lived in what you know today as the land of Jordan, which was on the coast which was the east coast of our country. They used to live on that coast. Years later, they got pushed all the way into the Far East. But there was a time when they lived on that coast over there by Jordan, and we had to deal with them. And our people got mixed up with them like we do whenever we go into captivity. Now, think this through. Y'all got to think this through, y'all brothers and sisters out there, so you can gain something like we gained it. Here's Nehemiah trying to rebuild the children of Israel. And now we read in the story that these brothers were marrying women from other nations. Where does that go on at? And it's pushed at? Right here in America, right or wrong? Right here in this empire, which shows you that this ain't nothing new. We act like this is a whole new world. And we all learning new things. We ain't learning nothing new. All this been going on since the beginning of time. The only problem is you've been the slave since the beginning of time. And that's what these brothers was doing, the exact same thing you do. You get a football contract, you marry a white woman. You become a big tech savvy guy, you go marry an Oriental or an Asian, right or wrong. All of them, especially them Edomites. Them Edomites love to marry them Asians. God. And a lot of you brothers was doing it too, especially in the 70s. Oh my God. Bruce Lee came over here with one kung fu movie. And every last one of you went over there and got you a Oriental girl. God. They came out with what is it? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Oh my God. God. The dowry on them Orientals must have went through the roof. God. God. You thought you had the perfect woman. You thought you had something special till you saw her in the Chinese restaurant making your 4 chicken wings and fried rice. Then you realize it wasn't nothing special. But you was under the spell because that's what was being pushed by the heathens, man. Right or wrong?
Got it in one gun. And again with that cat, the Bruce Leroy cat. I forget the name of that movie. Last Dragon.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
God, you wanted to be the Chinaman after that.
Good.
You know what I mean? Like meanwhile, Show Nuff was the Show Nuff. He was the man. You know what I mean? Like Show Nuff was trying to be him. This cat was sitting up there trying to go to a cookie factory to find the Lord. In the end, of course, they had to get. He was in wasn't that a fortune cookie factory?
Cut on what kind, sir?
Like they just shame us in every movie, man. Come on, you die. They just shame us.
The saving grace of that, sir, is that the Timac is a devil. His father's a devil. That's the only saving.
Is that
grace.
right? Okay,
cut on what kind, sir?
God. That was shameful, man. Made us look for God in a cookie factory. That was messed up. And listen, and the movie made mockery of us not knowing who we was. It was like a joke. Like we didn't know who we was. We didn't know who to be. We didn't know how to act. That's what they were trying to say in the movie. But they was trying to say, but whatever you do, don't you be that wild hair wearing, don't give a damn talking black man wearing flashy red garments. Don't be him. You know what I'm saying? It was just another shameful thing, man, that they pushed. Go ahead, Art.
Verse 24. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod and could not speak in the Jews' language.
They spoke half in the language of the Edomites, like we are today. We don't speak our language today. We fighting to get our language back. And everybody coming up with it. The Lashawan Kodash, that ain't real Hebrew. Oh, yeah? Why your scholars over there in Yale and Harvard believe it is? Why do they believe it is? Okay? While you not believing it is, the Lashawan Kodash is the actual holy tongue returned in the earth by the Most High through the Israelite school.
That's right.
Practical knowledge.
That's right.
Okay? Meanwhile, that's what we were doing. We were taking on the language of the other nations, man, and trying to be in their language and their culture. We did this all through history. We put on the dashiki to be African. 70s came, we had the Chinese slippers on and the kung fu uniforms. Y'all remember that? You know what I mean? Every other thing, what's his name? The black martial artists. They had him in the movie with Bruce Lee. Of course, he got killed first. Jim Kelly, my nigga. I grew up on Jim Kelly. Still love that brother, man. He was cool. He was bad. He was tough. Fought the cops. They know how we supposed to be. That's why they had him fight the cops. Right. Ain't nobody else had to fight the cops but him. But of course, they had to let the Moabite kill him first and torture him and brutalize him when he was battered in them all. You know what I'm saying? God. Jim Kelly. Y'all that might be a little, y'all looking at me like, what the hell is he talking about? Y'all don't know about none of that. Damn, boy, I'm way over their head. They like, you don't know what the hell you talking about, Salaki. Well, you gotta look up the Bruce Lee movies, man. Okay, so you can understand. There you go. So you can understand Bruce Lee is one of the first ones to prominently introduce martial arts in the United States. But prior to that, you had the movies, like the Wu-Tang Clan sort of mimic a little bit. You had those type of martial arts movies. But But Bruce Lee came and made the movies more modern. And he got famous for it. And then he started teaching classes. He was full of a ton of philosophy with it and got famous in Hollywood. And then they supposedly killed him. You know, there's all kind of rumors that they killed him and killed his son because he revealed stuff and all that. Who knows? Probably some Chinese mafia nonsense. They probably financed him and he ain't paid their ass. Who the hell knows? But anyway, the point is he was famous in it. And then, but black martial artists are the ones who were real in the game. And how many of y'all heard of the K1 tournaments? Y'all ever heard of that? Heard of the K1 tournaments? Here's what you do. Go on YouTube, those of you out there, and look up the first K1 tournament. I'm gonna tell you about it because my people were involved in it. The first K1 tournament, the very first K1 tournament was fought the United States against Japan. And guess what? They had no white martial artists on the team. Guess who was on the team? All black men. Okay. Now, the Japanese won the K1 tournament, but do you know how they won the K1 tournament? Not because they were better martial artists, but they used a simple technique of kicking the ankle of all the black martial artists as a tool. They taught them, they taught all the Japanese artists just kick their ankle until they can't stand on it no more. And that was the technique they used to win the first K1 tournament. Okay. And you're going to see a guy named Thomas Martin. Okay. I grew up, his son and I grew up together and grew up into the martial arts way, way back then. His father used to teach the martial arts. They was deep into it, the ginseng and all that. I came into the truth. Thank the Most High. I found my full identity. But we was definitely starting off looking at the Oriental world and adapting their identity. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, the Lord broke me off and I went into the truth. And he kind of went into, you know, the Oriental way of life to a certain degree. But then eventually he dropped them too. Eventually, as a people started to wake up, he dropped them too. But they were the first K1s to go over there and fight the Japanese. We started all that. We were the masculine ones back then. Go ahead.
What you bringing out is so heavy, General. There was a brother. It's a famous black martial artist named Victor Moore. Okay. And this brother was bad. So like he actually defeated Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and others, and ridiculed Bruce Lee for just being an actor.
That's right. That's right. That's, like he went over there to, you know, make money. But them brothers was learning martial arts to survive. Like while Bruce Lee was in Hollywood, these brothers was on these streets fighting against these cops trying to survive, learning martial arts for self-defense. Meanwhile, they were over there, you know, doing the Hollywood thing. You know what I mean? And that's just how it went. He made a ton of money off of it and all that. But I don't want to get diverted. I'm going to finish this scripture so I can get off this story, y'all. Let me finish this. Go ahead.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13 and verse 24.
Nice and loud.
At the end. But according to the language of each people. Verse 25. And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them.
Don't act like it's strange what we do in here. It's strange to you because you don't know the Bible. Like this is a prophet of God you reading about right here, Nehemiah. And he said that his people was marrying these other nations and speaking the language of these other nations. And he got mad as hell. And he said he contended with them, meaning he fought against them. He fought for his culture and identity, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A black man must find out who he is.
That's right.
And you cannot include no other nation in it. You got to know who you are separate from everybody else.
Kind of the one kind.
This is what Nehemiah knew and figured out and read in these records. And if you read the whole book of Nehemiah, you'll find out that he got this from going in his records. He set the Levites up and told them to go on and teach and get out there. You read also about I forgot the other brother who was out there, who got up there on the wood and started to speak and teach the people and open the records in the site. Say again?
Was it Micah, sir?
No, I'll tell you right now. Hold on real quick. Y'all got me on my rustiness. Let me catch it. Hold on, sir. Ezra, Salaki. Ezra did that. Them brothers did that, man. They were in that spirit. And that's the spirit supposed to be in us. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we say what we say. It ain't that we hate you. It ain't that we hate you because we tell you that your God is a God of another nation. We don't hate you. We love ours, regardless. And that's the beauty about the truth. We love ours regardless of what God or foolishness they gone into. We don't got to go into it and going to try to teach you to come out of it so you can see on a different level. You understand? But you take it the wrong way and don't understand why we saying it when we trying to show you something. That there's more to you than your subservience under another nation, man. There's more to you than that. These nations don't have to submit themselves under nobody else. And some of the poorest and smallest nations, they might be having to give tribute, but they got their own identity, their own belief system, their own God. You can look at Haiti. Haiti poor as hell. They still holding on to voodoo. They need to get rid of that, but you get my point. They still holding on to it. Because they trying to hold on to some sense of themselves. Black man, Latino man, Native Indian man, West Indian man. You better wake up, man. You better wake up. Last bit of it. Go ahead. Give it to me. Tell them where you
at. And plucked off their hair.
And he plucked off he ripped their hair out their head of these sisters, man. Go ahead.
And made them swear by God, saying, ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons.
You hear that? He made them swear not to give their daughters unto their sons. To keep your heathen children away from our people. And Nehemiah was trying to put us back together after being enslaved in Babylon. But you can't fault the prophets of the Lord who want to put you back together without bringing the heathens with them. Right. How you going to fault them for that, General?
Good.
Right or wrong?
Right, correct.
You can't fault them for that. That's what Nehemiah did, and he was successful at it. He was successful at it. You understand? He restored the children of Israel, got the heathens out, fought them on the wall. That's the job of a prophet of God.
Good.
The real job of a prophet of God.
Kind of the one kind.
You know what I'm saying? That's what's supposed to be filled inside of you. You're supposed to look at the landscape. And here's the thing. Here's how they got you so brainwashed. And this is the preachers in the church's fault. And I'm going to get up off this. The way they have you brainwashed is by constantly feeding you the propaganda lie that it is your fault. And let me tell you something. Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propagandist, made it part of his business to constantly teach and push that what was happening to the white Jews was their own fault. That's what he did. It was their own fault. He used to make movies. Joseph Goebbels was something. He used to make movies, right? And this is what he used to do. He would go on the street where there were well-to-do white Jews, right? They had fur coats on and they had a little money in Germany. Even though the Nazis were ruling, they still had some money and was still living, right? Before they really went into the so-called final solution. Joseph Goebbels would make those rich people walk in front of or by a homeless person that was a white Jew. And he would film it. And then he would play it in the theaters and say in the film, you see, they don't even care about their own poor because they know that their own poor are the ones that caused this. And so in the minds of the Germans, it was like, well, it ain't our fault that the Jews are going through what they're going through. It's their own fault. I don't know if y'all get where I'm coming from.
Got it in one gun.
That's exactly what is being done to us in this empire.
Yes.
Our wealthy and powerful people are saying, it's them poor people. It's them ghetto people. It's that music. It's them, it's them projects. And made them think that this was these poor people's fault and not the fault of the people that was oppressing those poor people. They propagandize against you, man. That's why you got to wake up and find you in your own. I'm off of it, man. We can go to the next story. Y'all ready? You was gonna say something. I told you. I said I was gonna come back to you. So okay, let's keep going.
Florida school bans teaching critical race theory, gender fluidity, and mainstream narrative surrounding COVID.
If you don't think you're in a new country and in a new era, you are a fool. You are an absolute fool. Because one of the bedrock, listen to me good, one of the bedrock laws and rules of the United States was to never, ever destroy books. Where did that come from? The Nazi Party. The Nazis burned books written by white Jews. Once again, it's such a lesson. Like Hitler got played. He wanted to wipe out the Jews, so the Lord gave him the white ones. He went and wiped out his own people, thinking he was wiping out Jews. But these empires today learned from them and said, well, we can do that too. Now that we know who the real Jews are, we can do that too. Well, what they did back then was they had book burning session where they piled a bonfire up and throw thousands and thousands of books into the fire because they didn't want the Germans reading these stories of sensitivity or of suffering from the Jews. They didn't want these white Jews writing stories and books and pamphlets and articles stating what they've been suffering because they knew the Germans would read it and be like, oh, this ain't right. We shouldn't treat these people like this. They wanted the Germans to be sanitized from it. So they started burning books and burnt all thousands of books. Well, guess what? That's what this empire is beginning to do right now. They ban in this ban, and I'm gonna let Ibad read it. They banned 850 black books in Florida. That's unprecedented. That's unheard of. It damn near might be unconstitutional. It might be unconstitutional, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter because in their empire, they do what the hell they want to do. Go ahead. I'm gonna name some of these books. Go ahead.
Kawakan. The school also said the U.S. is in an era of unprecedented censorship.
Unprecedented censorship. Go ahead.
A Florida school has a policy against teaching critical race theory.
And in that policy, and this man's such a beast. He's not banning just the 1611 Project. Now he gonna ban every book that sounds like it might show some black suffering. Go ahead.
Arguing that such curriculum is the result of a controlled message from the media.
Right. They saying they ain't gonna say it's a controlled message from blacks. They don't want to do that. But they saying it's a controlled message from the media. The media is doing it. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, General. Please.
As a school, we do not subscribe to or promote critical race theory.
As a school, they said we ain't gonna do it. Meanwhile, they got rid of 850 books. No, that's it. Go Maya, you got to bring out what you mentioned to me earlier about it. Where you had saw that tape.
Right, a video. It was a black woman arguing. First, the white woman. When I saw the video, the white woman, it was just some meeting, concerning these books and banning what books, and the white woman was saying, she don't think it's right to allow certain things in the libraries, and she don't think it's right to stop other books. Like she was offended that they stopped. She brought up Tom Sawyer and them regular old, the old good old day books that you learn in school. And she didn't want all these new books about critical race theory and whatnot brought into the schools or the libraries because it's offensive. And the black woman said, well, we shouldn't censor these books coming into the library. People should have a choice. If they want to go see these books with critical race theory, they should have that choice. And the ones that are offended should have the choice to avoid them and not read them if they don't want to. Because we grew up with books like To Kill a Mockingbird, was talking about niggas all throughout the book and the movie and everything, but it was part of the teaching system, you know what I'm saying, in school. And so, it's just a big debate on whether, and white people can't never get it unless it offends them, they can get that.
Right.
But they can't get the slaves. That they offend the slaves and you complaining.
That's a lot. That part they don't never get.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? And it's so amazing. We had to grow up in such a racist educational system.
Good.
They didn't have no problem with that.
Good.
But now that they got now it's being told to them that they got to have a system that brings out the evils that they did.
Good.
They don't want to hear it no more.
Good.
Now it's, man, the hell with them.
Good.
And the hell with them books. And not only, like you said, not just not teach them in school. They want them out the library. They don't even want you to be able to find these books no more.
Good.
And listen, let me show you a couple of these books. With some of these books, you're gonna know because they popular. And I'm just giving you a few of them. A Good Kind of Trouble by Lisa Moore Rahman. Another one called Castle, The Origins of Our Discontent by Isabel Wilkerson. You know this one, The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. She's the one that wrote that book talking about how the entire prison system was the new Jim Crow system. The book, she became famous. The book became famous. They just banned her book in Florida. Okay. V for Vendetta by Alan Moore. Everybody heard that. They made a movie about that. Okay. Check this out. The Indian Removal Act, Trail of Tears by Susan E. Hammond. They banned the Trail of Tears, which is, a staple in Black education. Right. The Black Power Movement and Civil Unrest by Kerry Hilton. That's another one that was well known. And that's just a couple of books from the 850 books that they just banned. Do me 1, 2 out with ice and coke. Thanks. You understand that they just banned. What the hell is going on in this empire, man? I'll tell you what's going on in this empire. They feeling the heat that the Lord is freeing you, just like the scripture said. The devil coming down on me, knowing he had but a little time. Knowing that he had but a little time. I appreciate that. He know he got a little bit of time. So he coming down on you now. And brother, he's trying to line himself up to make sure that he's on top of you when that time comes, man. And I said this already. What you saw going on at the Capitol is coming to a neighborhood near you. Because they like any animal. They can't take over the Capitol, but they can go chase after Black people. Mm-hmm. And they working their way that way right now. Okay, go ahead.
Gender fluidity or the mainstream narrative surrounding COVID. All hot topics that many schools are now choosing to teach as factual rather than as the theories they are. Reads a section of the website for the Center Academy, a private school in Miami, Florida.
They ready to shut all of that down. And it'll spread over the country. And here's the sad part. You know what's sad in that whole thing? Here's what's the saddest, sorriest, sad, just so pitiful thing of all this is that Black leaders are too dumb to know that that was ridiculous to try to push critical race theory on Edomites, especially during the pandemic. Like some of these academics are, I don't know if they working for a government or what, but they pushing something out that is just totally backwards. Like critical race theory should be pushed to us. We're the ones that should see about all the things that they did to us. God. Once again, like we brought out many years ago, the cure for Stockholm syndrome is to give the victim proof of the things that was done to them. God. And to constantly reinforce it to break the bond between them and the abuser. That's what has to happen with Blacks and Latinos and Native Indians. You got to see all the things he's done to you so you could break from him and begin to help yourself, man. Begin to add to yourself as a people. Go ahead. You was going to say something, General? Let's get into it. You got more in there?
The policy comes as debate has raged in recent months about the inclusion of elements of critical race theory in school curriculum.
Right. Like you fighting to put this in the school curriculum for Edomites. I just don't get it. Why not fight to have black schools? Like you're gonna fight for white America to have to learn about every evil thing they did to you and expect them to accept it and digest it and become a part of it, and whole states are banning your books. They doing something that's unprecedented, like you said in the beginning of that article. Said it was unprecedented, and it's unprecedented because that's where they go when it comes to you trying to push your inclusion on them. And haven't we learned from Brown versus Board of Education? Like, haven't we learned a damn thing, man? Them black kids got abused and spit on and kicked over and everything else. And now go to Chicago and go to a black elementary school. Bring a bulletproof vest. Because they have destroyed God's people, man. Destroyed the Lord's children. So instead of you waking up and saying, why are we pushing this on them? Let's go teach our people this. You sit up there, man, and do something stupid and try to push it down their throat.
God.
Just dumb and stupid as it could be. Dumb and stupid and simple as it possibly could be. Go ahead.
With proponents arguing that the lessons are needed to inform students about the country's past injustices.
Right, like they got to inform students about the country's past injustice. Now, which students? I know they ain't talking about black students. They still catch it. Like, why do they got to inform black students about it? So what are they talking about? They're talking about informing white students. They want white students to learn how evil they were. They know how evil they are. They drive through Compton and the Bronx and Harlem and every other area every day. Let me tell you something, Mark. I remember in the 80s. I don't know if y'all remember this. I mean, y'all probably don't. In the 80s, do you know that they used to have bus tours that went through Harlem? And them bus tours was just like Edomites going on safari. They were double-decker buses, and the Edomites was up high on the second deck with their cameras and would ride through Harlem and snap pictures of black people walking down the street. I mean, it was the spectacle of it was the humiliation of your life.
God.
They in a tour bus riding down Lenox Avenue with a camera snapping your picture as you go get an icy from the coquilla truck. Like it was safari to go see the jungle.
God.
What a joke. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, Art. No, not you. About the brother asking the question. I'm sorry? They still doing it up there? Like they want to ride through and see you in your utter poverty and just observe the jungle. Mm-hmm. Just, this is what you've been hearing about, all this violence and killing. Here it is. Yeah. I mean, it's shameful on a whole nother level. You looking for the bathroom? It's to the back. Yeah, there you go. It's shameful on another level. You are like a tourist attraction in your poverty.
Something they never get to see.
Yes.
In its natural habitat. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Something they can be ashamed of. I didn't know it was still going on. Go ahead, Doc.
Sir, if I could, like a lot of, these suburban kids, they are obsessed with the Chicago gang life. So a lot of them, they will go to a neighborhood in Chicago called O Block, where many famous rappers of today comes from in that area in Chicago, and they'll go down there taking pictures, posted up, you know, saying, hey, yeah, I'm in O Block, I'm on O Block. You understand? Like it's a lot, sir. It's still happening to this day.
That's crazy, Like, that's crazy. Like, what a spectacle. Go ahead.
California in Compton.
Yeah.
Where Nipsey Hussle was killed.
Mm-hmm.
They going off the brother in the car. People go all the way out there, fly all the way out there just to stand next to a wall and just to take a picture, of the moral of a dead man who was in gang violence, did everything. I mean, I'm not speaking bad on him because he did help his community, but it's just crazy because our own people are so into just taking pictures next to somebody that never did nothing for them. Nothing.
Go ahead, you die.
I could say something about Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle was a Hamite, sir. So
God, he wasn't even one of us.
Wasn't even one of us, sir.
No. Yeah, ain't no sweat. He wasn't one of us. Listen, most of the time when somebody like gets that kind of fame, most of the time they not us. Like we love a heathen more than we love ourselves. In many cases, people loved him. You know, that's on them. You know what I'm saying? The Lord loved his 12. And Nehemiah, he loved these 12 tribes. That's what he cared about. You know what I'm saying? Like we are so damaged as a people that anybody from another nation that shows us the least slight bit of love, we looking at like, oh, we thankful beyond belief. Eminem came in here, brother, and you know, he was like Tarzan, conquered the jungle. You know what I mean? Talking about his psycho mother and his daughter and all that, and acting crazy as a bed bug. Right. And they loved him beyond belief. And the record company loved him because, of course, they made that was like Eminem allowed white people to openly be able to love our music. They was loving our music, but they didn't want everybody to know they was loving our music. They wasn't playing it loud in the car. They wasn't they wasn't going all the way in it. But once Eminem came out, it was like, oh, okay, it's acceptable for white people. And before you know it, they were flooding the record companies, making them, hand over fist cash so they can push them, so that they could be a part of the so-called white culture. Let's get some more. All right.
But the Center Academy called critical race theory controlled messaging from the media, which it said comes at the same time as unprecedented censorship in the United States. The repeated messaging from the media shapes cultural norms and the way we view social and cultural issues, the website reads. Rather than jump on board with the mass media storyline, we challenge our students to question, research, analyze, and consider issues from multiple perspectives.
Yeah, in other words, they're going to try to convince white people to look at this from another angle. It's going to make you a more well-rounded person. You look at this from another angle. It's a joke. Mm-hmm. It's a joke. It's a joke. Nobody, Shalom says, it's a joke because nobody's going to take you serious because you try to convince their children to have mercy. Shalom, brother. They're going to try to convince your children to have mercy on you after they've enslaved you for 400 years. It's a joke. God. It's like, it's the dumbest thing in the world. And again, I don't understand why these academics are pushing this right now. I don't know what they think they're going to accomplish. Because now you accomplish having whole states ban what it is that you're teaching. You can leave that on the chair, brother. We get it. You understand? You got whole states willing to ban what you're teaching. So what's next? Meanwhile, the people who really need to know it, who really need to see some of these books, who really need to, get involved in it, are your people. That's who needs to see it. That's who needs to experience it. Okay? Come on, you died. Go on, jump in. Yes, please. Dad, West Philly for Life, 1992, said that Esau had these double-decker buses tours in Parkside and Fairmount Park, Continental District, Memorial Hall section of West Philly. Damn. Still pushing that poison on us. Still showing us like we animals in the jungle. Go ahead, you die. Let's keep going. And
Russia,
he says a ghetto in West Philly. Go ahead.
Calm. Russia sends troops into Russia sends troops into Kazakhstan as clashes between security forces and anti-government protesters turn deadly.
Once again, this is what's going on. They constantly stepping it up. Now the Russians then went into another country, one of their side countries, which is right over there near Afghanistan as well, you know. Kazakhstan is right above Afghanistan. And right now, the U.S. just pulled out of Afghanistan, okay, abruptly. Now, Russia just went into Kazakhstan, whatever the hell, Kazakhstan. He just went into Kazakhstan. And so now the Russians are starting to mount up. More Third World War madness getting ready to break out here. Go ahead,
Khan. Russia has sent military hardware and paratroopers to Kazakhstan as part of a peacekeeping mission following a plea from President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. The Kazakh leader was vowed to quash massive protests across the country that started over gas prices, but have quickly spiraled into a much more significant challenge to the authoritative leadership of the former Soviet Republic. On Thursday, the protests turned deadly. Police in Almaty, the country's biggest city, told local channel Kabar 24 that dozens of protesters have been liquidated following
damn. Go ahead.
Following attempts to storm government buildings. State TV said 12 law enforcement officers were also killed, including 2 who were purportedly found beheaded. More than 1,000 people were injured across the country, health officials said.
Dang. So are they saying that these people are running into government buildings protesting the government, and that's why Russia went in? Or are they saying what exactly?
That's what it sounds like. There's an anti-government group over there trying to, fight against the government, and that the leader, called, I guess, Putin and them for some help.
And he came to their rescue.
God.
Damn. So it's an overthrow.
Yeah. 12 of the cops were killed. They say, what is it? Dozens of protesters were liquidated.
Damn. Damn. So that means Russia's taking that country, which is putting them real close to Afghanistan, which is putting them back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
You might take that Ukraine eventually too.
And they said I guess Kazakhstan was Kazakhstan and like 5 other old Soviet Union countries that formed this organization, this CSTO.
Is that right?
As you read down, so that Kazakhstan was one of them, and so backed by Putin in Russia. You know what I mean?
So wait a minute. So the group was backed by Putin.
If I could read down,
go ahead. Please.
It says the Collective Security Treaty Organization (CSTO), a Moscow-led alliance of 6 former Soviet states: Russia, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan, promptly improved Tokayev's request to send additional forces to back up his own security services.
Which show you the Soviet Union is going back together. Like them groups is working together because they getting ready to put the whole thing back together.
Soviet Union about to step
back. They about to call it the USSR again. They going right into that direction the Lord said that they would go into in Ezekiel 38. Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
Okay. It was the first major action by the CSTO since it was founded more than 20 years ago.
Oh, so they had this 20 years. they've been working on this. Go ahead.
The CSTO did not confirm the size of the Russian deployment to Kazakhstan, but local media reported as many as 3,000 troops have been sent to back up the Kazakh forces.
Go ahead.
Kazakhstan has been engulfed in anti-government riots throughout the week, which begun with grievances over fuel prices but quickly turned political. Protesters demanded a change in power and a complete withdrawal of Tokaveh's mentor and predecessor, Nursultan Nazarbayev, from politics.
So this rebel group seemed like they tried to push the government out. But it sounds like Russia and them came to their rescue to put them back up in power. Which sounds like they all getting ready to come back together. And they know they got to come back together because in a minute, they know that the U.S. and the West will gobble up everything on that side. So they trying to, empower themselves again to get ready to deal with this Third World War. They all know the Third World War is coming. They all preparing for it. They all arming themselves. They know that it's coming and it's inevitable.
And they see America constantly trying to creep. You know what I mean? Trying to creep up and get Ukraine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to creep up. And so they ain't stupid. They ain't going. They see what happened to Gad. They see what happened to Negroes. So, and that's what Saddam Hussein tried to avoid in his day.
Right.
He tried to fight as long as he could, but they still found an excuse to go in and chop him down. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what the Iranians worrying about now. All them sanctions. They're worrying about them being moved on as well. The whole chess game is going right where it's supposed to go. Which is why you got to give up your soul. Listen, I watched this. I watched a ton of brothers and sisters do two things. When that 9/11 broke out and they started going to war over there in Iraq, tons of brothers and sisters joined the military with Esau, especially you black Christians, and started going to, signing up. I remember driving in the South and seeing the recruitment offices packed with brothers and sisters in there. Damn near all brothers and sisters were packed in them offices. And then I'd turn on the news and I'd see a ton of brothers and sisters going overseas to join the Arab side. So both sides were recruiting people into both camps. And they started going to war with each other, and tons of brothers and sisters died. Of course, they'll never tell you about it all. Tons of brothers and sisters died and got wounded on both sides of that battle, which was between them. And both of them got into that battle because they didn't realize that that battle had nothing to do with them, that they were the children of the Lord. But they took on the gods of the Christians and the gods of the Arabs. And guess what? They then picked up the arms for those gods, which is why you got to get rid of them gods, man, and have the God of Israel. That's the only God that belongs to you. And I ain't talking about the one that the so-called Jew is following. You got your own God. Let's go some more.
Karawa Khan. Nazarbayev handpicked Tokaveh in 2019 as he stepped down as the first president of the country. But he remained the head of the Security Council, enjoying significant influence. As the protests grew this week, Tokaveh removed Nazarbayev from his post and sacked Kazakhstan's cabinet, but vowed that the government would not fall. Authorities have imposed a nationwide state of emergency and a nighttime curfew. Virtually all flights, both domestic and international, were canceled in Kazakhstan, and train connections were disrupted, officials said.
So the whole country is descending into chaos, man, as they go to attempt to take it over. That it on that? Let's keep going. What else you got?
Three men convicted of murdering Ahmaud Arbery sentenced to life in prison.
Yeah, they got life in prison, supposedly. But that's Georgia, right?
Colonel McCon, sir.
So, don't get your hopes up too high. You know what I mean? They'll let them sit up in there a year or two.
Okay.
And before you know it, we don't know for sure, but before you know it, they'll just give them, they'll just turn around and, give them an appeal. Before you know it, the three of them could be out in 2 years, 3 years. You know what I mean? It ain't like when you go to prison. You go to prison, brother, they throw the book at you.
Okay.
But them, they always got some sense of, we got to return this person back to society. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So who knows? You know what I mean? You in Georgia. Once the media is gone, the news is gone.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'll push for them racists that's all up in that Georgia government, all up in them that Georgia those Georgia courthouses. They'll push for all of them to get up in them seats and overturn, that conviction. So I don't have a whole lot of hope in it. Go ahead, General.
Put them on some program
Yeah.
that you never hear about. They'll still be doing their time, but they get to go home for a week. You know what I'm saying? Every couple months or something like that. It's like a vacation damn there. They give them benefits.
They'll argue that the venue should have been moved because the case was too famous, garnered national attention. They'll come up with some lie, which is the usual. Now, if they don't, that's good. But they'll come up with some lie. Here's the thing. Will you learn from that lesson? Will you learn like we Hebrews have learned that this is a lesson for us to learn about what they do to us every day? This is the lesson that's learned. And let me tell you something. One conviction will put half of you back to sleep. That one conviction and you back to sleep when you should not be going back to sleep for that. Why don't you wake up and realize the responsibility you have for your nation and your people? You take on that responsibility past this conviction, and then you begin to move the ball in the right direction, man. And remember, this is the case you hear about. And took, 3 years for this case to come to, because they tried to bury it? They tried to bury this case, push it under the rug. It took years for them to get this case back up. Now, if this case took years to get back up, and I heard the prosecutor is under some kind of scrutiny now, right? They might bring her to trial because she turned around. She was the one that wouldn't even prosecute. Imagine that. Would show you that they out there probably killing brothers all day, every day. And you don't hear anything about it. You know what I mean? This was famous. This got famous over time. What about all the other cases? Who knows what has happened down there in that area that brother was in? And show you how rare it was for them to have the way if you watch that case, it was rare for them to have a black man in the neighborhood. It was like a strange thing to them. You know what I'm saying? And they would be on top alert when they seen him. Forget about it. Who knows what else they've been doing down there and are going to keep doing until it comes out. You know what I mean? And
give me give me kind of hope that on the media, black people were celebrating, that they got, sentenced for life, and they were celebrating. And at the same time, they said, it feels so wrong that we got to celebrate justice.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? They said justice shouldn't have to be celebrated, but it's so rare that we get it. You know what I'm saying? That it's them. They're like a party, but this is wrong. We got to celebrate this thing. You know what I'm saying? So, Lord willing, they waking up.
Damn. Hebrew Jake 12 said, oh, yeah, Brunswick is in the deep South Georgia. Sundown towns all over that area. That's the perfect term. Sundown towns, meaning that when the sun go down, you're supposed to be out of town. Which is, go ahead, you guys. A lot.
I was going to say, sir, what I'm still stuck on is that, which was heavy in the case, they didn't arrest them devils until, the video surfaced up on the internet, on social media. It took them about 2 weeks to even arrest, these devils. So if it wasn't recorded.
That's right. The cat in the back with the pickup truck is why they got convicted. Because if not, like you said, if not for that tape, you wouldn't have heard nothing about that case. And probably a whole lot more. And this cat was a cop and an investigator at one time, wasn't he? Could you imagine how many brothers and sisters they killed, man? You know what I mean? Could you imagine that? Let me tell you something. I'm watching. This is just a random tape I'm watching, right? I'm watching this tape, and they talking about the military in the Midwest in the 40s, right? And this Edomite is talking. He's an older Edomite, getting close to death, and he's just randomly talking about how he was on the military base and how he got into some trouble, and how a black sergeant came up to him and was with a white sergeant. It was a white sergeant and a black sergeant. And the white sergeant was checking this Edomite. Like, what are you doing in this area? You know, trying to check him. And they just randomly talking. And he said, and the Edomite was explaining, yeah, and he came at me and he was this and that. And he said, and then the black sergeant jumped in and said, yes, yeah, he said, yeah, to the white sergeant, we could run him up to the brig or something like that. And he said, the Edomite is just randomly talking. He said, and he turned to the black dude and said, let me tell you something, nigga. My daddy used to drag you out, your kind, out to the desert and feed them to the animals out there. So I don't know what the hell you talking about. And the way this Edomite said it out was like this was something that they normally did in their family. How dare this nigga talk to him like that? Because they used to just drag y'all out to the desert and feed you to the animals. And he said it out. It was like chilling the way this cat said this. It was like he was so, this is what we use. This is how we used to live. So who knows what they doing in these little towns, man? You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it on that. Give me that next story. I definitely want to get into that. Last one, I think.
Meek Mill on smoking weed every day.
Big shout out to Meek Mills for coming out with this story. This is just breaking news. Go ahead, Al.
I get depressed as soon as I get high.
Well, finally, somebody came out and said the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
You getting high to escape life. And because you try to escape life, you get depressed after you get high. You get high trying to escape, and you realize you getting high trying to escape. And as a result, you get depressed. Go ahead.
Just 2 months after announcing plans to take a break from social media, Meek Mill returned to Twitter this weekend to open up about how he feels when smoking weed. I smoke weed every day and get depressed as soon as I get high.
Damn, he said he smokes it every day and gets depressed as soon as he gets high. Go ahead.
The Philadelphia rapper wrote, I'd be happy as hell sober, LOL. It just helps me think deeper and more realistic, LOL.
And let me tell you something. A lot of you musicians out there are under the stupid notion that you have to get high to enhance your spirituality. That is a lie. You don't have to. That's how they got a lot of black people on drugs in the 60s and 70s. You know what I mean? They gave them that heroin, telling them, you know, you got to get into the spirit, man. You got to get into the vibe. And made drug addicts out of tons of black people and Latino people. You don't have to get high to get your creativity, man. That's a myth. That come from heathens. Heathens all in the Orient full of that. Them opioid houses that they used to have were filled with artists and, you know, and entertainers and poets. And they was in there getting high looking for some spiritual inspiration. When that's ridiculous. You don't need to do that. And Meek is trying to show that to us now. Go ahead, Al.
As previously reported, Meek announced in November that he will be taking a social media hiatus. About to take a break from social media, I see too much crazy SHIT. He wrote, before adding that he feels sorry for the younger generation who's grown up on social media. Being a young kid gotta be confusing as in these times of social media. I be lost seeing some of this stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it, brother. There's so much propaganda coming across social media to poison you against the truth. and against who you are, it's ridiculous. It was amazing when they came out and said how Instagram is giving young girls low self-esteem. What are they not telling you? And they just came out this week and said part of the January 6th riots, part of it was influenced by Facebook. And that would make sense. If you're a greedy bastard and you have a social media company, the thing you want to know the most is how much information you can steal from the people that's on your social media and how much influence you could have over those people, because both of those result in money for you. So these social media companies is about brainwashing you to get you to do things that puts money in their pockets. And they said they influenced them over there, brother, to riot in that capital. We're showing you they got the ability to do it.
Okay.
They got the ability to brainwash certain parts of the population and get them to do things that, you know, helps destroy them. And if you walking around without the truth, I don't even know how you would escape it. You walking around totally blind. I don't know how you're going to escape it. Go ahead, y'all.
God, let alone the commercials and the advertisements. You know, when they know you got the minds of the people, you know, then now you paying them big bucks to advertise whatever your business is.
Exactly.
I know for some reason I've been seeing a lot of things lately. They start off like, don't you cook another egg before you watch this video. Or don't you do this. It just be weird, random things, but don't you do this before you watch this video, which get the mind of the people like, oh, what is this about? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you watch it, so they get rich off of these advertisements.
God. You know what I mean? So a lot of that is that madness. Is that it on that? You got that's it. Hey, we out of here, man. Check out the video of the Passover coming up after this. I'm Commanding General Yohanna, General Mark Allen, Officer Yediah, Ahmaud Arbery in the building, doing it up with us every week, every Monday night, 9 p.m. ISUPK.com. I see. Hey, check this out, y'all. We got an ISUPK fundraiser bingo night getting ready to start. I believe it starts next week. Check the website. It'll be up on the website, ISUPK.com. Bingo night. I think it's next Friday at 9 or 10 p.m. It's Friday night bingo coming to the ISUPK. Everybody can join in. It'll be live, and they'll be calling the game. Big shout out to who's running the game up there in New York?
Ashar.
Ashar is up there running the game out of New York. Good big shout out to Ashar. You got a big task in front of you. Bingo night, y'all. Go ahead and check it out. Coming live to ISUPK.com. Am I forgetting anything else? That's it. Passover. Stay on top of it. Pay your tithes.
That's right.
Pay them tithes. ISUPK.com or send it to us through the Zelle. I'll see y'all next time live on the UPK, y'all. Shalom.
I.S.U.P.K. 53rd Annual Lord Passover.
53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida.
It's going down.
You're here tonight to get a chance to be righteous enough to be worthy of God coming to save you and your
That's right.
It's going down. The Lord's 53rd Annual Passover.
When we say we no cowards, we talk that business. We no cowards up in here.
Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, the IHG Hotel, 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 32926.
There's a lot of men down. You dealing with the men of war. We at war. I sided with the Lord of war.
Come to all your dishes, pots, and sports knives.
I got like this. This is like an apartment in a hotel. You know what I mean? Yeah.
This here right here about to be holy ground. It's gonna be holy ground. All our beautiful, wonderful brothers and sisters from all over the world You understand? We can boast that now. Brothers and sisters coming not only from every state, but from all over the world. I heard the numbers this year is ridiculous. We had to buy out the whole hotel.
Friday, April 15th at the Space Coast Convention Center.
You cannot debate. You just want the clout. We just want the grades. I'm just trying to get it.
This is going to be glorious.
We don't give a fuck. You can see it in our faces. Got it out the mud. Straight up.